Let's welcome Bryan Berlin.
So I feel like I spend a lot of my time trying to figure out the opposite sex, just like constantly. And there was this time when I was in college where I was really struggling with it, and I was like going through a bad breakup, and I was working at a summer camp. And my friends, we had a weekend off, and my friends were like, hey, it's Becky's birthday party. She's throwing a party. Let's go over to her house and like forget about this breakup. I was like, okay, cool. I'll go do that. And, so like 8 of us head to this house, and we're all, doing what college kids do and just kind of like playing drinking games, hanging out. It's very low key. And we start playing Kings, and I'm not like a big drinking game guy, so I start making like a playlist that would perfectly match the mood, that we could just be like hanging out and listening to this music, which is what I care about more than drinking games. And so I put this playlist on, and everyone's kind of having a good time and enjoying themselves. And Becky, whose birthday it is, she has 2 friends who are, friends from home that are hanging out with us. And this one girl, Sam, is kind of cute, and I sort of noticed her when she walked in. And she kind of walked over to see us, what was going on with this drinking game. And I thought she was going to join in. I'd start talking to her, and she'd be like, guys, why aren't we dancing right now? We could be dancing. And pulls out my iPod, puts on a dance playlist on her iPod, and immediately I was just like completely turned off by this girl. I thought it was going to be good, and it was just, it was no good, and I was just kind of frustrated. And so we kind of left the area because she sort of killed the mood, and started playing beer pong, which also I don't really love doing, but I was kind of like, all right, it's something to do. And I start setting up the game with my friend, and we're ready to play, and then she comes over with her friend, and she's like, oh no, it's our turn. It's like, no, we just set up the game, it's not your turn. And now it's getting like a little bit, I don't get mad really ever, but I was a little bit frustrated with this scenario. And that was kind of like strike 2. And I sort of just walked away and let it go, and I was like, I'm not gonna make a big deal out of this. This girl, yes, she's cute, but she's kind of a pain. And so then like that, I let that go, and we ended up kind of hanging out again back in the area by the couches, and just sort of like hanging out, and Trivial Pursuit cards are out, and I love Trivial Pursuit, and we're just sort of like going through questions and having a nice time, and she walks over and kind of sizes up the scenario, and she's like, I bet I'm smarter than all of you in this circle. And I'm so over it at this point, and I don't want to deal with it. But this kid who I sort of know, we work at camp together, I don't think I've ever had a conversation with him. But he goes, whoa, what about that guy? And points to me. She looks at me and goes, I'm definitely smarter than that guy. So that was sort of like all right, are we gonna do this? Because let's do this. And I say, great, all right, let's like go through a card. Whoever gets more right, that's how we'll do it. And she's like, no, that's stupid. I was like, trivial, but that's great. There's different categories. You get a great scenario of like general knowledge, and she didn't want to do it. So my friend goes like, all right, what about periodic table of elements? And I go, all right, how about 1 hydrogen, 2 helium, 3 lithium, 4 beryllium, 5 boron, 6 carbon? And she's like, no, that's not right. Which was great, because that was like as many that I knew in order, and that was my limit. It worked out for me. So I go, at this point, like, she's definitely got me a little mad, and I go, all right, what's your major? And she's like, it's French with a concentration in French history. So I go, all right, do you want to talk about the Battle of Hastings? Do you want to talk about Guillaume the Conqueror, 1066? And she's like, no, French Revolution. So I go, all right, do you want to talk about the Reign of Terror and Robespierre? And I'm just like, I took a lot of French as a language. And when you would take those language books, it would always have those random history pages mixed in with and I just shouted out everything that I remembered from all of those books, to the point where she just left. And it was this like great victory for me, and then we all kind of just like settled down and we're going to bed, so I go upstairs to kind of brush my teeth and stuff. As I'm like coming around the staircase, I just hear her talking to my friend Becky, just saying, he's such an asshole. And then, like, makes eye contact with me. And I just give this, like, I don't know what you want me to say. Go do my thing, come back, like, get on this couch. And I was so happy that I got a couch to lay on versus, like, sleeping on the floor. And I'm, like, there, and she sits down next to me on the couch. And then 2 seconds later, she's laying down next to me on the couch and is, like, cuddling with me. And I'm so confused, and I don't know what to do. And then she lives in the neighborhood, so she's like, hey, do you want to walk me home? And I said no. And all of my friends were like, you have to walk her home. So I get up and I walk her home, and like within the first few seconds of us leaving the house, she's holding my hand. And I am so confused, but I'm in a weird place in my life. And then the next thing I know, we're like making out under the streetlight. And like this whole thing was so weird, but it happened. I walked her home, I came back, I got my couch, I was able to sleep. But it was the night that I realized like I would never understand women. Thank you guys so much.